Pops, and here we go. It's Oscar nominations. It's that time. Let's talk about it a little bit. I'd love to get your thoughts on different things, films that you feel were snubbed, things that you, I don't know, have any idea what it is, interested in seeing, those kinds of things. So have some great guests. Hopefully they might be able to swing by, including Paullie, Latino Slant, who did an amazing stream this morning. Got to give kudos to channels like Film Threat and Latino Slant, who did a great live play-by-play Oscar nomination rundown. I think it's great. I know, look, so let me start by saying that I totally get how a lot of people don't care about award show. Nas, even more in a cyborg, not really a cyborg, just a spontaneous thing here to do because of the Oscars. Like, I know a lot of folks have given up on the award show thing, the Hollywood thing. I totally understand that. But it's sort of like a big deal as far as the industry. It is a driver of, I want to say, the power struggle, the clout. It's important to understand how clout works. There's a lot of, PR and money talks of trying to get certain things nominated and credentials, right? Because this is part of the legacy of a film. Is it was nominated for X number of Oscars, that this person was nominated for this or that. And the sad thing is there's such a small number of nominees, someone is always left out. And it creates basically a lot of interesting conversation. And I know a lot of films are not for everyone. I get that. I'm going to give you my thoughts on a few of those films. If you have films, or maybe you don't know who got nominated or those kinds of things, feel free to take your questions or comments. So, but hey to you, Nas, love your thoughts, man. Your Barmy, hey there. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me again. Whitechapel as well. So, Hollywood, yeah, and the Illuminati blood rituals. Yeah, I know. Trust me, when my wife is there right now, calls them the lizard people. Most of, and look, I got it. I'm not. My love of film and cinema is not because I love or worship them as something. I just don't. I've met a lot of folks and just not impressed with the intellectual capacity that comes out of Tinseltown. When you rewind the clock to folks that are, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, you start to talk about intellectual giants compared to some of the folks we have there now. So I'm going to start by going through some of the bigger categories. And then we'll kind of let our guests come in. Hopefully he can make it, and we'll go from there. The biggest thing is obviously what everybody wants to hear or see is the best picture, right? Because the best picture is last. So it's, well, is there anything there that I would stay up? Would I stay up and watch? And here's our trick with best picture. They tend, especially in the last couple of years after they expanded it to 10, and I still will stand by, this is why they expanded it, because they need to give you something as a token so you'll stay up and watch. That's literally my, so this goes back to Black Panther, right? What Black Panther, there was all this hoopla about Black Panther. And it was like, well, if we put Black Panther on the list, we'll have all these people watching. It didn't really pan out. So here's our best picture list. Let me run down them quickly. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. Okay, so here's my thoughts. I have not seen Women Talking, Triangle of Sadness, and that's it. Oh, I didn't sit through Avatar, but I get it. Like, I don't need to sit through Avatar. I'm not giving these people 4 hours of my life. Avatar, it's Avatar 2. It's a beautiful version of the other film. It's another version. I have no desire to see it in theaters. It is a token nomination along with Top Gun Maverick. There's no chance that Top Gun Maverick or Avatar win Best Picture. I will be shocked beyond all shock if either of those win. Okay. Everything Everywhere All at Once is really the big buzz right now, where it's won a lot of these awards along the way at other critic events and those kinds of things. That's a very, very odd film. For those of you who have not seen it, I'm not saying it's a bad film. It's a very strange film. It's a very deep film with a lot of metaphors and interesting things. I have not really done a video on that. I may just kind of do a mini review as we go along our night here tonight. Go through some stuff and talk about it. So that kind of leaves us with some of the other things. If I had to vote, and I'll be totally shocked with you guys. I am shocked that All Quiet on the Western Front got as many nominations as it did. I believe it has 9. I believe it has 9 nominations. I said All Quiet. I was so shell shocked after seeing All Quiet on the Western Front. I could not believe how good it was. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. I'm double checking my notes while we're chatting. It's based on a book, which is a remake. It's a very staunch anti-war film rooted in showing you the horrors of World War One. So it's not agenda in the sense of there's a bunch of lectures or speeches or good guys and bad guys. No. It's just going to show you how bad conditions and things are and basically juxtapose that against the military elite that are putting people in harm's way, living in laps of luxury while the soldiers don't have any food. They're freezing, these kinds of situations. That's pretty much this film. Saving Private Ryan, Hacksaw Ridge type of shock. Like it really is a very, very intense film. It is fantastic. It is a great film. It's rewatchable if you like war films. I don't think this is a film that people are going to want to sit through 16 times unless they're really into war films. However, it is a great film. It's pretty rare that you get to say one of the best films is actually nominated. And it did win. It did get 9 nominations across the board. It's tons of things. So Bobby says Top Gun's the best on the list. Okay, so let me say this about Top Gun. As I said, I think it's 0 chance of winning. However, I will say of the films that are on this list, it is by far the most rewatchable film. And by that, I mean, when I think about analyzing a film, I usually will say things about how much I would rewatch it. I think you should say it's this type of review times a rewatchability factor. And if it doesn't have a rewatchability factor, how great is it really? I've already watched Maverick 2-3 times in theaters and 2 to 3 times since then. Look, we've really watched it that many times. So yes, Top Gun is by far the most rewatchable film on this list. Absolutely. Dean Krantz, hey there, brother. Hope you're doing all right, my friend. But I can say, as far as a film goes, a structural film, an Oscar-worthy film, something that would be on that level, that caliber of film. When I think about an Oscar film, All Quiet on the Western Front is probably the best film among this list. I will say that it was disheartening to not see RRR make the list. It has everything that Top Gun has. It has everything that Maverick has as far as rewatchability, but it also has more. So, all right. So Dean says, got to disagree with me on All Quiet Western. Among my fellow vets, it is not viewed well. Okay. Well, so here's the thing, Dean. Is it not viewed well because of the story, because it is an anti-war film, or because the execution of the film or historical inaccuracies, or what are your thoughts? You'd have to elaborate a little bit better for me. So Bobby asks, which did better domestically, Top Gun or Avatar? Avatar has now passed Top Gun. It took a little bit longer because Avatar came out so late in the year, but Avatar is very close. It's closing in on $2 billion. It's definitely at 1.9. Maverick, I think, is at around 1.5 or so, give or take a little bit. Hey there, Zax. Hope you're doing well, man. So this was the top list. Like I said, it was disheartening to see RR not make the list. I didn't expect RR not make the list. If you are a foreign film and you're not included, because the Indian government would not even submit it. They don't submit it. They're very agenda driven. Northern India, which is mostly Bollywood, controls the inner workings of the cinema group, and they're not going to send films that paint the British in the negative light the way it did, even though it's a historical film. This is not the first time they've done this. And the film that they submitted did not even get a nomination in the foreign category either. So, okay. With that said, let me address. Let me do Fabelmans and Tar. Like I said, I've not seen Triangle of Sadness or Women Talking. I don't believe I have them on any of my to-do lists yet. I will have to figure out how to place them in my list of things I'm going to watch. I did reviews already on Fabelmans and Tar. Consider them both single servings. Like they're both. So Tar is a great film, a single watch. I would never watch it again. Cate Blanchett is amazing. There's one incredible 10-minute sequence, but just the idea of sitting through that again, it's kind of a Me Too film, but it's a lesbian, and she is sort of like it's done as also like a biography, but it's not based on a true story. So it's great in a way, but I would never sit through it again. I thought Fabelmans is by far the most overrated. Now I haven't seen Avatar. I'm not going to do it. But Fabelmans are the ones I've seen. It's one of the most over. I do not get the Spielberg Fabelmans hype. I've said it. This is a Spielberg film for Spielberg, by Spielberg, for his friends. I don't get it. Just don't get it. So, let's see. Okay, Dean says that many of us are fans of the book and the earlier films. Cool. Okay, totally understand. No, look, listen. It's okay to disagree. I'm totally cool with them. And again, like I said, if you disagree, cool. So, everyone is missing that story about India. Yeah, I don't think anyone understands like how the foreign. So again, there is an argument to be made. If something is the best picture, should we also include foreign films? And we broke that with Parasite because Parasite won. So I've done videos and I've talked about what are the odds of RR getting nominations, and I said it's very, very low, especially now that India has snubbed it. I will admit there was a slim chance only because, again, I am so full of hope. I'm so naive with my hope meter that I think money matters and ratings matter. These people are such morons that they would want to put that film in there just to get. Okay, if RR is on this list, doesn't that mean that all the people in India, even the ones that didn't want it nominated, would stay up to watch to see if it won? To me, it's a no-brainer to get ratings. Like, why would you not? I know it's cheating. I know it's sandbagging. Do you not think that Avatar is on there for cheating and sandbagging? There is no way you're convincing me that people think Avatar is that good. It's oh God, Lord help us. So, Dean, this is again on All Quiet Western Front. Didn't like the shifting from the men in the trenches to the general officers in the rear. Oh, okay. See, I like the fact that there is a juxtaposition of the soldiers in harm's way versus the people calling the shots. Like it's portraying the anti-war message is we have no problem putting people in harm's way. That literally is part of the theme of the book, the theme of the first film. It's carried on here. It's a German film, so it's got a different little angle on it. I actually like that. We have to agree to disagree. I also think the execution, it worked well. So, okay. Bobby says, I liked RR. It had one Voltron scene where the two guys come together. Yeah, that scene is insane, is it not? When are you going to see that? The funny part is, Bobby, in 2022, and the Everything Everywhere All at Once also has a scene very similar. We stack humans. So, okay. So a couple of people saying good points. Sacrificing young men. Yeah. So again, All Quiet on the Western Front is probably the film I like the most. I haven't seen Avatar, but I get it. Avatar 2, basically same film all over again. I said my piece on Tar. I said my piece on Fabelmans. I have reviews on those. I haven't done a review on Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I kind of briefly explained it's odd film. Getting ready to do a review on those. Or I will do one as part of this stream. I don't know yet. Elvis and then Banshees of Inisherin. No, Banshees of Inisherin is okay. Really, really dark, edgy comedy, like Coen Brothers comedy. Like it's not funny, not like gags. Performance and dialogue driven. Very, very good film. Very well executed in every way, technically. I think Colin Farrell's performance has been sort of exaggerated, and that Brendan Gleeson is just fantastic. I don't get all the love for the actress and some of the other folks in it. I don't really have any desire to rewatch the film, but I have no aversion if it were on. So it's kind of in this thing. Like, it's not like Tar. I would never really sit through Tar again. I didn't care for Fablemans. I think it's overrated. And Banshees is kind of above that one. So if you think of it as like that kind of tier system. And then there's Elvis. Elvis, I thought, was a blast. I had a great time watching Elvis, but I have no idea why it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I do not understand Hollywood's obsession with making long movies like this. It's just making my head hurt. Austin Butler disappears as Elvis. He obsessively watched videos to transform into Elvis. There's many scenes where he disappears and you are seeing Elvis. There are great shots of him as old Elvis. Sometimes those shots, the makeup's not quite right. He doesn't look like weathered like older Elvis did. But when they have the stage performances and stuff like that, I mean, I think so. It's great. Music's good. Had a very interesting stylistic approach to telling some of the story. The biggest negative on Elvis is it's long, and there's a lot of Tom Hanks and pretty cheesy makeup. It's really rough to handle him in a lot of ways, in my opinion. So, hey, Shelby. Hey, long time no see. Let's see. Dean says, the themes were not in the book or the movie. Look up the stab in the back. Okay. Again, German film. There's a bit of an agenda there. Totally get it. So, Bobby, I will totally understand. So Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Surprised that the short round, though, didn't recognize him at first. Okay, so we'll get to him because he got an Oscar nod, too. Again, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is possibly one of the most divisive films you may ever see. Like, if you love this film, you surely have to understand why people won't like that film, and vice versa. This film is extremely strange and nuanced. Michelle Yeoh is amazing in this film. What they ask her to do, actually, all the cast is the main cast is amazing. Michelle Yeoh. Kyun Kwan, who is short round. I want to get Stephanie's name wrong. The other actress. Let me look it up real quick. She's fantastic. So, Jamie Lee Curtis was good, but Stephanie Su, it's HSU. Fantastic performances in this film. It was fantastic. This movie is so strange and weird, though. It's kind of like the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness stuff, but it's just a strange film. It's like a freaking acid trip at times. Movie is weird. It's funny in bizarre ways. Anyway, Yarbarmi's talking about Banshees. Banshees is indeed it's a bizarre movie. It's so dark. I feel awkward laughing because there's not like gags. It's just more like the strangeness of everything. Banshees is sent around two friends. One friend just says, "No thanks, I'm not going to see. You're not my friend anymore." And the other dude just can't let it go, and it just keeps getting darker and darker and more disturbing and more disturbing. Film gets awkward and uncomfortable. Really good film though. Really enjoy the journey. So, okay, yeah. So in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Oh wait, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry, hold on. Okay, that's not it. Let me go. The chat thing moves. Okay, so the hot dog finger. So in Michelle Yeoh, there's multiple universes of her. Think of it as the concept of multiverses. There's an infinite number of possibilities. So, well, what if I pursued singing, or what if I pursued cooking, or what if I done this? Well, what if I'm in a universe where people have hot dog fingers, and you're like, what? Again, that's what they went for. Strange movie. So I think that gets us through all of the best pictures. Like I said, between now and Oscars, my goal will be to have Triangle of Sadness and Women Talking off my list. But I'm not going to watch Avatar. There's nothing to me. It's Avatar. It's all over again. It's just a different version, underwater, more money, and it's long. So okay. Not familiar with The Fountain, so yeah, don't know. Okay. So let's go to the next category. So the next category I did was directing. Make that bigger. There are no real To me, there's not exactly a surprise here, except for the bottom one, the Triangle of Sadness. I have no idea where the love for this Triangle of Sadness comes from. Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Fablemans, Tar, and then of course this Triangle movie. Like, so yeah, I know the people RR wanted SS Rajamouli to get a nod. I think there was some love for some other films. Not really surprised by the top four. I think all four of them deserve a fair consideration for direction. I would say that if I have to vote, I would think that Everything Everywhere All at Once probably would be the best pick. The complexity of this film, what kind of performances he was able to get out of the cast in excruciatingly strange and weird sequences was really, really impressive. My second pick is probably Banshees. Banshees really has the top four cast members really do deliver. You have some very interesting elements, and the nuances of them delivering those scenes was very, very good. So that's what I would say. So, Dean, thank you so much for hopping in, bro. I'm sorry I may not have gone fast enough for you or whatever. I apologize for that. If there's anything else, maybe catch it later on. But I do appreciate you or your input and that kind of thing, man. So, Zach, I am with you, man. Until today, I hadn't heard of it. And I'm not saying I'm really avoiding it. It was not on my radar screen, and definitely not to the scale of getting a best picture and a directing nod that totally caught me. So, like Banshees, laughed out loud a few times before I went super dark. Yeah, it just kept getting darker and darker. And I'm with you. Zach, tell me, would you watch Banshees again, though? Because I feel like, to me, it's a single serve. That's my new term. I stole it from Mr. Grant Gregory. It's a great single serve. Like, I'll watch it, and I don't think I'll watch it again. But I will say with Banshees, I have no aversion to watching it again. I really didn't care for Fablemans, and I really don't think Spielberg did anything impressive with Fablemans. I thought it was a very generic Spielberg film. Not saying it's a generic film. Not saying it's not. Like, I can see the director list being like 10 deep, and Fablemans being in that kind of category, but top 5. No, there's nothing that special about the direction. Tar, it's just because it's Tar. Todd Field, and he did a good job. I mean, it's fine. It's not, I don't know. I just don't. To me, I think it's really the top 2, and really everything. My choice would be that top 1. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me see if I missed anything else. Okay, so your Barmy saw it. So I thought Triangle was going to be way more funny than it was. Kind of disappointed. Okay, well, your Barmy, put a comment in about what you thought of it, though. Like, if you had to give it like a 10 scale, could you give me an idea of how bad, or if you want to, you don't have to. I keep it. I didn't even know who Ruben Ostlund is, and hadn't heard of it. I just didn't know. So, no aversion. Just yeah. Yeah, Zach is with me. Wouldn't seek it out to watch it again. It's just one of those, like, okay, it was fine. It just wouldn't be my cup of tea to sit through again, but it's not bad. It's just a single serve. Okay, let's do best actors. Again, we're going to start with Austin Butler, who disappeared as Elvis. Best performance I've seen so far. I have not seen The Whale. We actually were seeking out screenings to see The Whale this weekend and could not figure it. Couldn't get it to work. So yeah, The Whale is the one that everyone has talked about. We've seen the photos. I've seen footage and things like that. I'm very impressed by what I have seen, but I have not watched the film. Okay. So of the films I have seen, which I've already said, with Colin Farrell with Banshees, I was not that impressed. Okay, this is a hot take. You guys can blow me up. Colin Farrell was better as Penguin and Batman. The performance part. Banshees was okay. I can see a lot of actors being able to pull that off. The Penguin role, that was transformative, man. He was really good as Penguin. That's probably the best element of the Batman movie, by the way. Austin Butler, though, and then I found out how much he sang. He disappeared as Elvis, man. He was fantastic. If this movie just needs to be, I would like to see this movie at about 2 hours and 10 minutes. there's way too much Tom Hanks in this movie. The terrible accent and the terrible prosthetic makeup and stuff it just got so old for me. There's hardly any Priscilla in it. It's fine. There's a lot of Elvis that we can tell. I just felt like it ran long, and but it's nothing to bash on Austin Butler. But he was fantastic. I have not seen After Sun, Paul Mescal, and I have not seen Bill Nye. I have not seen Living. Those are two that I have not seen yet. So if you've seen those, folks, feel free to let me know your thoughts on those. So, okay, so this was the one we're talking about, Triangle. I don't know if I'd watch it again because it's truly awkward feeling. That was a good way to describe it. Awkward. Okay, that's fair. Hey, Spork. All right. Hey, man. Oh, bro. I'm going to be on with Spork tomorrow, I believe. So tomorrow, if everything goes well, be on with these guys. Awesome podcast, man. And just talk about getting the screw job by the tube. I hate this reused content vague thing, man. But that's what destroyed my other channel, man. They changed all of our copyright nonsense, and they just out of the blue changed it to reuse content. It's been like that for 6 months. I have no idea what to do to fix that channel. So my heart breaks for you, man. Totally breaks for you. So love you, Scott. Hang in there, my friend. Be strong. Yeah, I liked Elvis, just with my caveats there, right? And I'll probably do a review on Elvis. I'll probably have a chance to do more like flush that one out. So, okay, 6. Woody Harrelson is great. Kind of like his take on how incapable the elites of society are of taking care of themselves. Boy, that's so funny. Okay, well, if the triangle's that, I might actually enjoy that a lot more. I love things that make fun of Hollywood. That's the only reason I hated Fableman so much. I just did not like it. So the dude is still talking like Elvis. What? I don't even know how he could deprogram like that. He is so good. I couldn't believe how much singing he actually did. Very little was added. He's really, really good. And he just totally immersed himself. I was really impressed. So some things that are funny didn't work for me. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely the problem with Oscar stuff. Oscar stuff tends to be when you have comedic elements, because again, we're not allowed to have comedy, right? For those of you at home that have not realized, hashtag RIP comedy, we don't really get comedy. Like there's not going to be Mel Brooks. We're just not doing that stuff right now. So what they do is they put a few jokes in things and they put a comedy label on it. Most recent example for me was I just did a review on A Man Called Otto. And if you look at the description, it will say comedy and drama. Comedy is, let's say, 98.2% and like maybe 1%. And like almost all of the comedy is the other characters, not Otto. And if you laugh at Otto things, it's because he's just being just a mean old man. It's like, but we put comedy label on it. And I'm like, and of the movies we've talked about, the only one that has any comedic elements is probably the Everything Everywhere All at Once. But that's more like absurdity of the scenarios, not punch, not gags. So the awkward is about banshees. Okay, thank you. So yeah, no, that was definitely my part too. I felt, and as the film got very dark, I feel like banshees, I felt uncomfortable, which is good because that means the film is connecting with us. This is another reason why it's a great film. I just don't think I want to sit through it again. I don't think I want to experience that again. And compared that to a Coen film, I feel like I enjoy the ride better. So, yeah, Shelby, it's Scott's totally gotten the whole reused content. The vague ambiguity of something out there is done wrong. We're not going to tell you, and you just got to live with it. It's just so. This is the worst business element that YouTube has. And Scott, you've inspired me now to connect my Rumble. I have an account, never did anything with it, so I got to have an account and activate it to Pops and make sure it's blended up. Everything I do just go to Odyssey, but no one's over on Odyssey just watching stuff, I don't think. But I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to start trying to figure out if I could try to reprogram my brain, add the Rumble app to my phone, things like that, and try to just start lead by example, because we have to figure out a way to shift it. It's the only way they're going to listen. So Zach's has also gone through that too, right? We'd all have to choose to fix. Yeah, I've been working on doing more with my Saturday morning cartoons. I've been doing like Saturday morning cartoons where I'm doing an X-Men review and a Batman. So it's Batman animated series, X-Men animated series. So I have all these commercials I've stockpiled up from the 70s, and I was going to do like some sort of like little filler thing in between, kind of like, you know, what it was like watching Saturday morning cartoons. I had little snippets from like Speed Racer and Scooby and stuff like that. And then I'm like, with all this reused content stuff, though, it's their way of not wanting me to do that. They don't want me to do that. So, but yeah, I'll share the Rumble. Yeah, I know, bro. It's and I know, hot take, right? I just don't like Rumble. Just maybe the user face is not going well. Thanks, Zach. Zach is he's got the mod, man. He's one of my members. He's been one of my long-time supporter, man. I love Zach so much, bro. You mean the world to me, man. And Scott, you too, man. You've always been such a great supporter and friend. Appreciate it, man. We're in this struggle together. So, all right. So let's go to the actresses. And I tell you what, man, this was a strange one for me because, before watching, okay, so let's do this. Okay, haven't seen Blonde. Ana de Armas. I've heard terrible things about Blonde, and then I've heard a couple people who said they like it. And I had no idea until today about this other film called To Leslie. I don't know who Andrea Riseborough is. I had not heard of that film. I don't know if any of you know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what the film is. So let's start with that. Anybody watch Blonde or To Leslie? I got nothing. Yes, Scott. We rise together. Amen, brother. Got to help each other. Lock arms, man. Just keep going. And that's all we got to do. We just got to figure out how to keep going. We got to figure out how to get you buttoned up, though, is the hardest part. Okay, so that leaves us with Michelle Williams. We'll start with her. So Michelle Williams in Fabelmans has some great scenes. Some really, really great scenes. I think Michelle Williams would be a fine Oscar winner for her performance in Fabelmans. I don't know if there's enough of her compared to Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh, because I think that's where it comes down to. Hey, Princess Leia Rose. Good to see you again. Absolutely. Anytime. All the time. Thank you so much. She played Marilyn with an accent. Yeah. Yeah. So Michelle Williams is fine. And, and all that. Kate Blanchett put on a clinic. As far as an acting clinic, Kate Blanchett transformed into this nasty, aristocratic, New York music liberal, who was also involved in some form of SA against other women. Like, this was a really, really crazy performance. It was fantastic. I don't know that the performance and like one amazing scene make a movie, but if you really are into like the craft of acting, she did an amazing job. Now, with that said, after watching Michelle Yeoh, the amount of range that Michelle Yeoh had to have for this role, from dramatic acting to comedic to reactions to martial arts. I mean, I don't know how you don't vote for Michelle Yeoh, but I will not be shocked if Kate Blanchett. I think Kate Blanchett won several awards already for Tar. It really, to me, is between the two of them. But I don't know. I to me, it's a coin flip. I would personally vote for Michelle Yeoh. I don't think these aren't numbers. I think the numbers, so I think each, so in the technical categories, technical people vote. And then I think in on these categories, these performance categories, they vote once, you pick one. And then on the best picture, I think they rank them 1 through 10. So that's why people think that Maverick could have a chance, because it's more like it could do well as like number 2 or 3 or 4 on people's list. So only so many ones compared to other. I don't buy it. So, but right now, if I had to make a pick, I think Michelle Yeoh is just freaking great. So, hey man, so much. Hey man, take care. Totally got you, man. Some of the other back and forth. Chris Burgess here. Hey Chris, hopefully you're doing well, buddy. Good to see you, my friend. And here's Chris. Oh yeah, here's Zach's 2.0. Zach's 2. Yes, I got to make sure I get you more in I got to get you more in my rotation on watching those, so I get my quantities. I'm catching up. So Jedi Bill. Oh brother, thank you so much for being here, my friend. Hey, listen, also hit me up, man. I'd love to have you on to talk Westerns. So I don't know if you do Twitter or not. If not, the email's always out there. Just let me know. I'd love to I'll do a What's Your Story with you on that, Jedi Bill. So And for those of you that are in the chat, and a couple of my members are here, and those kind of folks, tomorrow at 5, I have not done a member stream this month. So tomorrow at 5, I'll jump on do a member stream. I know it's just last minute. I also know it's the same kind of time block, even though I want to do a different time block. But if you're able to make it, hop in or whatever, you hear me ranting and raving, hanging out with some of the members, that'll be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be doing that. So, all right. So that catches us up through actress. And then the last one that I pulled up the whole list for was animated feature, only because this one made me mad. This one made me really mad. By the way, the one that you can't see is Turning Red. That's the Disney film. Pixar, Disney, I don't know. And I don't care. I heard it was crap. I'm not watching it. Sea Beast, I don't know anything about. I've heard good things from the Oscar people like Paullie, Latino Slant. Puss in Boots, we keep trying to watch, and then we keep putting it off. So we really now I really want to see the Puss in Boots. We actually just kind of have a soft spot for the Shrek films, and Puss in Boots is fine. And if I heard that it actually had some depth to it, but I have not really seen Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Not opposed to it, just haven't seen it. But let me be honest, Pinocchio is not only the best animated film. Pinocchio should be in the top 10. Pinocchio is so good, by the way. It's over on Netflix for free. Netflix is the big winner, by the way. Netflix is by far the big winner. Between All Quiet on the Western Front with 9 nominations, Pinocchio, I mean, Netflix won big. And then, of course, the Warner Brother machine, because that's where Top Gun is. Everything, everywhere all at once there, that kind of thing. So, yeah. Shelby got to 50. We got to get her. We got to keep on going with Shelby. I'm going to have her on. We got to figure out how to get that to works. And yes, she knows comics. She knows music. We had her on tonight, Zach. She popped in. Loki couldn't make it. We talked hard. We had a good time. So yeah, I'm going to have her on. We're going to do a comic book talk. So yeah, Shelby and I are cut from similar cloth. Austin was nominating me. I don't know what I'm going to be for the slightly overrated but somewhat overweight, crotchety old critic guy. That's my category, something like that. That's good. Bobby says the only thing I'm looking forward to about the Oscars is the next day, all the videos on bad moments and failed jokes. I got you, man. I got you. Look, I started by saying, like, I get why people don't want to do award shows, why they're sick of it, the narcissism of Hollywood, all that. But part of why I'm still connected is because I understand clout. I understand the legacy of film, cinema, history, those kinds of things. And this is why I'm still connected to it. I also think it's a good, easy way to talk about film that connects to the normies, like people that are not really into movies, but Oscars is one of those things they know about. And you can say certain things that are not included in your conversation about what is included. So for me, while I can talk about the films that have been on the list, one of the things I can do, and maybe you guys will disagree, you tell me what you didn't like it. I love the menu. If there was a snub today, the menu got snubbed hardcore. Like if I were on the clock a couple months before Angle of Sadness and some of this stuff stole all these spots, the menu had to be looking to get some awards. Like there was some cred coming down for Ralph Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy. Screenplay. It's a great film. It's a fun film. The menu was rewatchable for me. I was shocked. I have to be honest. I was shocked that it didn't get nominated. And I'm mad that Pinocchio was not on the Best Picture list. Let me go back to that Best Picture list. Pinocchio. Let's see. Well, obviously I'm not watching Avatar, but I would not. I'm not sitting through Avatar one time, whatever. Pinocchio is way better than Fabelmans. I don't have any idea about Triangle of Sadness or Women Talking. I just find it impossible to believe. Pinocchio is so deep and thought-provoking. It's a runaway in the animation category, but it should be on the best of list. It's frustrating. So, okay. Zach says Marcel is so good. Cool. All right. Well, listen, it's on the list. So listen. And here's how I approach things. So now I have a little under 2 months to watch some of the things I haven't seen so that I can actually speak on them. I don't like speaking on things I haven't watched. But I will tell you, I'm not watching Avatar. I'm not giving those people 4 hours of my life. I regret having the first 3 hours or something stolen from me. I'm basically watching Fern Gully meets Pocahontas meets Dances with Wolves with blue people. I'm not doing the same thing underwater. Just not doing it. I know it's beautiful. Fine, don't care. Awesome one says, Zax, when do you do another 12-hour stream? I don't know. Zax, we need to do a 12-hour stream. I can't do 12, but I could do some, and we'll open those cards, bro. Those cards. Maybe we could get Shelby involved too. We could do it all together. We could do some comic books and cards and just kind of do something the whole thing. So Pinocchio is great. Haven't seen Marcel. I'm with you. So that's where I'm at too. Marcel would be my main ones from the list. Okay, so before I get too further, I'm going to pull up the list from the Academy. Is there any categories that you want me to go to first? Is there anything I haven't covered that you guys want to talk about? Because right now I have a great guest. Oh, I'm talking about excited. Look at this. It's Rockstar Night. Paullie Latino Slant is here. I went through the main categories with everyone. The timing is like we planned it this way.
It's all predestined. It's all done.
It is. I am so happy that you're here, my brother. Paullie came in the house. What a great stream this morning. I reached out and said, "Listen, man, if you work in your nap, because bro's on the West Coast, so it's up at what? You were up what 5 in the morning?
Doing that nonsense? We went live at 5, but I was up early.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, yeah, people are rolling in now, Paullie. So Brandon, the anime guy, is here. Steven Ransom. Hey, listen, it's fine, man. You guys come up in here. Also want to say the Oscars are irrelevant. I got you guys. So listen, I said, Paullie, look, I get why people have checked out of some of this kind of stuff, but it still matters. Like there's so much clout that is associated with the legacy of film and cinema. I find it to be the gateway to talk to normies about cinema. Like it's a great way for people, because everybody will talk about Oscars. So a break room conversation, right? This is nominated. Oh, I haven't seen these films. I can say, well, this one's good. And it's such a shame because the menu got snubbed, and people go, the menu. I'm like, yeah, I don't. Paullie, by the way, what happened to the menu? That movie fell off. It was a hot commodity like 2 weeks ago. Then suddenly, Triangle of Sadness came out of nowhere and surprised me. I'm like, I didn't even know what this film was like 2 seconds ago. So, all right. Well, let's get to Paulie's first reaction to, let's say, I don't know, you want me to pull any of the categories back up, or you just want to speak from just generalizations of some thoughts?
Whatever. What you tell me, man. This is your stream. Right. This is your show. Cool. You know, is there anything in the chat you want me to address? Whatever you need. We're here for you, Pops.
All right. Well, thank you, man. You're very gracious. Thank you so much. Tons of love going around. So here's the thing I would say with the Best Picture thing is there's also been a lot of love, a lot of speculation that Top Gun Maverick made the list. I think Avatar is the other one as well. You get films that are making, $1.5 million to $2 billion. I'm like, well, to me, I know there are people making cases, but these are the token nods. These are the ones that are there for ratings. These are the ones that are getting people to try to tune in for the whole thing. I don't think that Everything Everywhere All at Once and some of these other films are, even All Quiet on the Western Front are going to lose out to Top Gun Maverick or something like that. I mean, that's fine because it would be definitely a more populist response, but I just can't see that happening. What are your thoughts on like that Best Picture perspective of things?
Best Picture. Well, the Best Picture, like for me, out of those nominations, like what would I pick as Best Picture? It would be Top Gun.
Okay.
The other film that's not in there there's two films that aren't in there that I would pick would be Babylon and RRR, but they didn't make the 10. I'm happy if Everything Everywhere All at Once gets it. I'm happy, period, for any of those nominations. I haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front. It seems to be like trending really hard right now. It's like the hot thing that everyone's talking about. Same thing with Triangle. No one heard about that movie at all, which is good and bad. It's interesting to see how the Academy votes. You got to remember, right? Let's get this, each category except for Best Picture is voted only on by your peers, like cinematographers, editors, musicians, all that stuff. Best Pictures for everyone. So I would love for one of those two to win a movie that brings joy, that's entertaining, has just great storytelling. Everything Everywhere is remember, it's a Russo brothers executive produce. It's the real multiverse movie of the year. That's
Movie is
it's an,
crazy. The movie is
it's an,
insane.
yeah.
I told people, you tell me, I understand if people really love it or really don't like it. It's a very nuanced film. You have to really kind of be able to kind of be into some of this because it is very strange. But man, the performances of the top 4 characters is so extremely good. It's insane. Like I was so blown away by Michelle Yeoh, the range that they asked her to pull off. Kiwi Kwan obviously is almost like the runaway for best supporting, and then of course these other characters, even Jamie Lee Curtis. It was smaller screen time for her than I expected based on the hype of the thing. But Stephanie Sue, holy cow, did she bring her game, man? It's got some great stuff to offer.
I mean, even the grandfather,
Yeah,
the
James
great
Hong, man. We can't. He's a legend. He's a legend. Yeah,
it it is so incredibly dense in the storytelling, and there's a lot of complexities going on with within that family. But they 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 hook you, and you're there with them the whole time. And what's great about that movie is that you can go watch it again and again. I remember sharing it right away with Romy and friends because it also just speaks to life. And yeah, I also too love the fact that the father Key's character was the one who symbolized love and hope, and he never stopped believing. What a great character that! Oh my god! And then here's the thing, it's like, oh yeah, it's Short Round. That's great. This is an amazing written character.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, which one was for Jackie Chan? Was it Michelle Yeoh or was it Key's character that was written for Jack? It was Jackie Chan was supposed to do one of those characters first.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so that would have been really interesting because I think Jackie Chan is an incredible actor, incredible performer. Probably would have been the role of a lifetime for him. But now you have Michelle Yeoh and Key, and also too, what they do in this film is that they pay homages to other films in their universes. And one is a film called "I'm in the Mood for Love." And it's a one where they're in the kung fu world and they're looking real slick and dapper.
Yep.
And it's kind of like that in the shadows of alleys. A lot of their scenes are, and Key looks incredibly dashing with the slick back hair. That's a homage to "In the Mood for Love," and even that is a devastating love story of these two people who can never be together because of their of the times and the timing, just like Everything Everywhere. Well, it's yeah. I mean, it's so unique. It in a good world, like it should win all the awards. It should win every award.
Yeah.
Because except for the song.
Totally agree. Well, let's address that because I know a lot of people in the chat and folks. Let me tell you what, RR. Paullie and I are going to agree with you. RR would be on our top 10 list. So one of those top 3 films for us both. There's no argument from us. But we have to understand how the politics work because if it's not nominated by the Indian folks, it's not going, right? So if you don't get it in your foreign category to get it into the overall Best Picture category, we have no evidence that historically will work. And the Indian cinema folks, they're not having films that are not. I mean, you got much anti-British sentiment in your film. Like Sardar Udham was another one. They just totally dissed that film. I went back and looked at the Oscar films that it would have been up against, and it would have been a shoe-in in my category. Like, what a great film, a disturbing film, yes, but just perfectly executed film. And that seems to be their track record. And it's almost like criminal because it's selling our award ceremony short political process that the Indian cinema is up against. That's pretty much what you've read and seen and stuff as well, because you've watched a lot of these Indian films for the last year or so as well, like I have.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the question was. I know we were
Well,
talking
just
about.
that. Do you think that because the Indian cinema film group didn't nominate it for its foreign representation, that would keep it from being nominated? I just think historically we haven't seen that. Parasite, of course, went all the way. Goes into both categories. Here we see All Quiet on the Western Front going into both categories. But I think it's winning with one without the other. You have to have the one as like a precursor to get into the other category, I think, is the problem.
Well, listen, I don't know what the politics are with the Indian Film Commission, who gets to officially nominate to the Academy, and the Southern Indian film industry, which is different than Bollywood. It looks like they have a lot of animosity, that there's a lot of politics. And even though S.S. Rajamouli is the director, is beloved and plays the game, obviously it didn't work because the commission did not nominate RRR for the foreign category. It nominated Last Picture Show, which I hear is really good, but it's no RRR. And so on that level, it's a massive failure for India on two fronts, right? Their movie didn't get in the international film selections. India's selection did not make it, fail. Yep. Now that also means because you didn't nominate RRR, it can't be in the international film category. Another fail. So that means that RRR, you gotta understand, guys, why it's so historic that we're even talking about this film with the Oscars. Independently, this film started a campaign on their own just to be noticed. Why? Because we, the Americans, started watching this film, and we started talking about this 10 months ago. This movie, we did that because you got to understand, they were happy with #1 in India, did great, great weekend, whatever, on to the next. Yep. So there's like always a big blockbuster opening up in India. But we're the ones that did the initial, like, just, wow, what is this? I mean, Chris Gore was written about in the Indian Times when he proclaimed it. So they didn't count on that. So Variance Films, once it came time to start doing campaigns, they did this on their own, guys, because of what and the same thing with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Even though the Russo brothers are in Hollywood a little bit more, but even the Russo brothers love RRR and S.S. Rajamouli. So just the fact that they only got, like you said, well, they only got one nomination, right? Which is song. They're probably going to win it. But as far as award season, they've won so much in this country. New York Film Critic. I think they just won another one, the Colorado Film Critic, or Denver, whatever it was. The Golden Globe, Critics' Choice. I mean, it's historic, and that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And to me, there's no way that I get it why people say, oh, the Oscars are irrelevant. I think their takes on social and political stances, and and all that infecting the Academy, and even affecting their requirements, has turned a lot of people off. But I still say that this is where awards can actually mean something in movies like this, in movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and even Top Gun, everyone's favorite movie last year. That's because of us. That's because of it. That's because of film critic Rosa Parra. She went and saw it 12 times in the theater. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I do.
It's.
I was just saying it's such a credit. Well, first off, Chris Gore, yourself. I've said Zach's, who's here in the chat, by the way. Put a
Mm-hmm.
link there in the chat, folks, for his second channel. Make sure you subscribe to Zach's and his second channel. Flaccid Phoenix. These are the guys that got me into it. Like, it's each person's been a gateway to someone else, and then of course I'm telling, you know, Joker Voice is giving me credit. You know, I'm selling it to, you know, different people. Everyone's word of mouth has gone viral with some of this stuff. And it's similar to what you said about, you know, Top Gun Maverick. It's like people needed to hear, no, it's that good. They needed to know in the theater. You need to see it in the theater. You need to get the experience. You need to understand it's something special. And I will say I did enjoy the experience of hanging right there, hoping for the miracle, hoping for the Hail Marys, and seeing those things. And I will be cheering for Top Gun to come away with the big prize, of course. But yeah, so when you looked at some of your other categories, was there a really other big snub or something like that where you're just still sort of shocked by anything that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch here.
Because to me, the menu was my biggest one. I really just couldn't believe we ignored Ralph Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy, and just like, I'm like, holy cow, the screenplay. I don't think they got a single nod at anything. And I'm like, you know, like 5 minutes ago, you guys gave this thing all sorts of accolades, and today you ignored its existence. It was so weird for me today.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy was even nominated for Best Actress. I mean, Ray Fiennes, nothing. We were thinking, well, at least they were going to get screenplay. Original screenplay went to. Listen, there's you know, going back to the Academy, they're still like old school. You know, they're still gonna. There's still a lot of these where they're just voting safe. With in certain categories, right? Screenplay, you had Banshees, Everything, Fableman, Tar, and then The Triangle. The Triangle movie was them taking a risk, right? It wasn't the menu. You know, and they had Glass Onion for Adapted, which I think is a joke.
Such a strange choice is having Glass Onion in this stuff. I'm also having a hard time with the Fableman's love. Where did you come down on the Fablemans? For me, I thought this was one of the most maybe it's because of the awards hype of it all. For me, I was so disappointed by Fablemans. I thought it was just an okay film. It's a Spielberg film for Spielberg by Spielberg, for his friends to say he's great. Like, I just felt like it was like, oh, it's okay. And it has so much love. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little, maybe I got too much of the hype bug. Sometimes you know how that is. Like, you can kind of feel let down whenever you hear so much about a film. What was your thoughts on? I don't think I've seen your review on Fable. I've seen most of your reviews, but I don't think I've seen the.
No,
Fable
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay, okay. All right,
I didn't get a chance to see everything. I didn't see.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I didn't see All Quiet on the Western Front. I didn't see Fablemans. I did not see this movie. What is it? Women Talking. I did not see Triangle. I haven't seen Banshees. My mother saw Banshees and she said it was really depressing.
Well, so the thing about Banshees is this new category. I stole this from Mr. Grant Gregory. It's like great single serve. Like, it's one of those fun experiences. It has like Coen Brothers sort of edginess and dark humor. I think Brendan Gleeson's performance is fantastic. I don't necessarily carry the love that some of the other actors are getting their awards on about. I get why it's being nominated in so many categories. The other one too that's in that same category is Tar. It's like great single serve. I can admire it for what it is.
I didn't see Tar.
I don't think I would sit through it again. Well, it's a great Cate Blanchett performance. I think it's one of the best too. I think Michelle Yeoh's her performance is the other one I think is that elite. And I think there's this great 10-minute single shot Hitchcockian film shot that's gone viral. It's beautiful. I don't think I'd ever sit through it again. So rewatchability matters so much. And again, maybe this is the YouTube reviewers versus like Oscar reviewers, because the way we looked at the way we look at Maverick and RRR sets us apart. Maybe how normal critics look, because you go to a lot of the critic screeners, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
No. I mean, for the most part, I go and pay for films. Sometimes I get invited. But as far as snubs, the menu is definitely a good one up there. Obviously, I think RRR should have gotten a couple of more nominations. I
was shocked by we can go to song for a second. I was shocked that Chow Papa from Pinocchio wasn't in
That's another snub.
song.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, that was when I saw Pinocchio and I heard that song, I thought, oh crap, it's the one song that could now beat Nacho Nacho.
Didn't even get
I heard that
nominated.
song and I thought to
Mm-hmm.
myself, holy cow, this song could beat Nacho Nacho. Like, this song is so good, it's
Yeah.
so emotional. I was like, oh my gosh, this song is amazing. And I had just heard about it, like literally like the day
Mm-hmm.
before I saw Pinocchio, because they'd been nominated for one of the early, like a critic choice or something like that overseas. And because I thought Pinocchio should be in the top 10. Like, I don't understand how this, again, this goes back to another theory. They don't want to treat animation as adult projects, I guess. We're still stuck. And it's like, Pinocchio is so good. It's so deep on so many levels.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just not taking it seriously. Also, too, Guillermo del Toro was just awarded a couple of years ago. You know,
Mhm.
they're always thinking that as well, which I don't think is right. You could say the same thing for with Pinocchio, it should have had score and it should have had best picture. It should have
Mhm.
had best song. I mean, no visual effects. I mean, I was like, what?
I know. I don't
And
understand. Yeah.
the disgusting, for me, I'm really pissed off that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever got 5 nominations.
Oh, it's so gross.
Um,
Oh,
that's just like that. I mean, that is politics right there. And it's all politics. I mean, The Fableman, like you said, the only thing I can say is that it's just that's old school politics.
yeah,
You
that's true.
know, um,
Because he did get 5 nominated, right? Angela Bassett got an award for Best
mhm.
Supporting, which I think is probably the only nomination I can say legitimately I can see it song as well. But I can see supporting role for her. It's a lot about politicking
Mhm.
because of the legacy, but there's not a huge amount of competition in that category. I could see her getting in on that. Costume design, I thought was almost like a weird freebie for it, but to get some of the effects nominated, like I think it's in one of the
Yeah,
effects
got
categories.
effects.
I was like, oh, visual
Yep.
effects was terrible in this film. Like, what are they talking about?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many scenes that I thought were just horribly done.
Yep.
And it's
Especially
funny.
especially if you go see that, then you go see Wakanda Avatar.
Yes,
It's
right.
just like, well, they did underwater way better.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and I think with Best Supporting Actress, you got the 2 actors from Everything Everywhere. I think the daughter. I mean, honestly, Angela Bassett's always great, but it wasn't a good role. I mean, she barely had shit to do. It was stupid. She's fine, but they're gonna give it to her for her career, like they did with Al Pacino. They get, he finally went for Scent of a Woman. Um, but is it the best performance of the year, supporting actress? No, it's
No, no.
Stephanie.
Stephanie Sue
I
is by
mean,
far the best one I've seen so far.
yeah,
I don't think I've
yeah.
seen.
And
Well, I haven't seen The Whale yet. That's the one that's probably the biggest film that we're like itching that we were looking at trying to fit it into our schedule this last weekend. Mrs. Pops and I were trying to get in to see The Whale. So that's kind of the
nice.
biggest one that's the only one in that category I haven't seen.
Yeah, and also too, they just because Angela's the favorite, there's always a chance that the underdog can win it with Stephanie. Just look
Yeah,
out. It's
totally
very
agree.
interesting. It's very interesting because she's getting a lot of love right now, and
And she definitely deserves it. That's for sure.
and
It's so good.
that whole cast. So yeah,
Steven Ransom is saying we're talking about the other Pinocchio, not the Disney one. No, the Disney one is the Razzie, man. If you haven't seen the Razzie Awards, it
yeah.
deserves to win every Razzie you can possibly imagine. The Disney it's just deplorably bad. It's just deplorably bad. How did Banshees get past the diversity? Well, just where it was set. It was just he just set it in a certain situation and they just rolled with it. So no one seems to be saying anything about diversity or lack thereof. So
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I, I mean, diversity is such a weird thing. It's just at the end, no woman got nominated for best director. Uh, Del Toro didn't get a best director. Bardo got cinematography, and that's a crazy looking film. I don't believe the gentleman's Mexican, even though it's a Mexican film. And then Ana de Armas got Best Actress nomination. So it's reflective of the population of and when I say that, as far as moviegoers and the movies that are out there, I don't know why people have such a hard time. It's like most of the films that we're talking about have quote unquote white leads. So what? They were the best in that category, in that film for this year. The Banshees, Elvis, that's just the way it is, and I think it is Top Gun. It reflects our population. That's fine. I'd like to see more vaulted films with Latino stories in them, but for whatever reason, we always have we still have a hard time getting through that door in Hollywood.
Well, and then whenever we're telling stories about any minority, it's just not some silly cliche. Like it doesn't. It's just always. I was having this conversation with Abomination AJ about how Jordan Peele wrote Nope, and I'm like, the sister was just so clichély written. It was just so distracting that even if I was trying to really, I don't know, try to find these metaphors that's supposed to be there, because I was told how many all these metaphors are supposed to be there. I'm like, but she's so distracting. Like, this is crazily like how they wrote the character. And that's just a very small indication of a problem that's pretty epidemic over the last several years. They're trying so hard. We get these very forced representation. It's just so frustrating.
Well, okay, I would say I would say that they're trying so hard to award bad films, and you can only go so far. Nope got no nominations. The Woman King, no nominations. Okay, but that doesn't mean that these guys still don't play the politics a little bit. So we got to give it to Black Panther,
right?
The requirements. It's basically in front and behind the camera as far as people of different backgrounds. So honestly, I think if you have like a woman or something, I don't know what, a lot of these productions, it just doesn't affect. It's like the same. They've always had that. That's the thing, is that stuff has kind of always been there. The diversity of behind and front of the camera. That's just a virtue signal, so the Academy can look good. So yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask. I think I got most of chat, got most of you caught up there pretty well. I wanted to get your thoughts. The one that I was having the hardest time with was the Best Actor situation. So we have Austin Butler and Elvis, Colin Farrell with Banshees you hadn't seen yet. Did you see Whale yet?
No.
Okay. Brendan Fraser, of course, is the one everyone's kind of buzz about. I haven't seen After Sun but you had some love for The Living, right? Bill Nye, Living.
I just saw that.
Okay. So
yeah.
Living's for real, huh?
Well, look, there you go too. It's like for all the diversity talk, every actor there is, for lack of a better word, Caucasian or white. But every actor in this is fucking brilliant. I mean, we're talking about the best of the best, and that's what you're. At the end of the day, you want to award. Austin Butler is incredible as Elvis. I hear Colin Farrell was good. Brendan Fraser here is fantastic. Paul Mescal, who's Irish, I hear that's a great performance. Bill Nighy, I saw that film, and it was a wonderful performance. I think Austin Butler should take it though.
I couldn't believe
it's a very different performance. Bill Nighy's his character's at the end of his life. It's a very it's very English too. It's very proper, and then at the end, he kind of breaks out of his shell. It's a great story, man. It's a great story. Really well done. So yeah, the Paul Mescal was a huge upset. A huge upset.
Yeah, that was one I hadn't had on my radar screen like at all. Obviously, there were some thoughts that Cruise and some other folks might get a nod, and obviously, pull the ratings draw in again, like the rating. This is another reason with the ratings. I said this earlier. This is another reason why the RR thing kind of got me so frustrated, because if RR is in the best picture list, you got 1 billion people in India who are probably staying up late to find out, or for early in the morning, whatever their time zone is, to see if RR wins. Even though it's like I know with all the contrivances, right? But no, I couldn't agree more about Austin Butler. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe he sang. I was looking stuff up. I'm Googling, I'm checking stuff. I'm like, this in the latter half of the film, which is more into my age, how, because I was, not around for some of the early Elvis, of course. But it was all Vegas Elvis stuff. And it was like that Vegas Elvis stuff and that legacy of Vegas Elvis stuff and all that stuff was for so long after his death. And I felt like I was there again. I really was blown away with that element of the film. Really, really good performance. Deserves every accolade he gets. That's for sure.
Yeah. Paul Mescal getting in there. So that changed from before with the Golden Globes and Critics Awards with Diego Calva, who's the young actor that was in Babylon, Mexican actor.
Okay.
And all those actors, Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt, and Diego, who are the leads of Babylon, they were nominated in a lot of the other, Golden Globes, critics, all that stuff. They got nothing. Right. So
yeah, because the Globes do like the drama and the comedy musical thing, so they kind of like have to double the volume. Do you think that's kind of why they're like in that 6 to 10 category on these lists? Or
Critics' Choice, I think they got nominated in the dramas.
Okay. Yeah.
I
haven't seen Babylon. I don't think that's a
Babylon.
I don't think that's a pops friendly film for me. So I may not be seeing Babylon. That might be outside of my brand, from what I've heard.
Yeah. Let me see. For all the talk about the debauchery of it, it's actually very little of the film. And the filmmaker Chazelle, who did First Man, and he did Whiplash and La La Land, he says this is a love letter and a hate letter to Hollywood at the same time, and it's so true. I mean, it is just very, very for me. It was one of my favorite films, and I saw it late, so that's why I didn't make my top 5. But
it's so funny because you have such love for Babylon, and the person I know that hated Babylon referred to the word debauchery as well. I find it so funny because you both have the same thing. It's so great. So, and by the way, I have to give credit to Stephen Ransom. What a great comment. Elvis never dies. He exploded in the multiverse. Now he's everywhere. We all see what you did there, Stephen. Very good job. Very good job.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, no, so yeah, look, I'll see it probably when it streams, I just because of that kind of stuff. But so okay, let me ask you about Bardo, because I'm not really familiar with the Bardo film, The False Chronicle of the Handful of Truths. Do you know much? Did you watch that?
I watched the first part of it. It required a lot more attention for me than what I had at the moment. Ritu has done some great films over the last 20 years. He's been awarded Birdman, Babel, 21 Grams, Amores Perros. He's killer, man. Oh my God! Wait, The Revenant. Did The Revenant? I mean, he like back-to-back years where he just killed it. Yeah. This was more of about a filmmaker. Him. He kind of was it was a story about him going back to Mexico to do a film, and that's what this story was about. But I heard it's really good. I just didn't finish it.
All right, I'm gonna have to watch Bardo, and you'll have to watch All Quiet on the Western Front. We'll have to compare notes and figure out where we land.
Man,
Bardo,
I gotta see that. So I do expect Babylon. I know we're jumping around all over. I do expect Babylon to win best music score. That
seems to be running the table on the score. That's what I've heard, and that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of like a modern feel to 20s jazz. Oh man, it's killer. Josh Hurwitz.
Well, I have to be honest with score, like Banshees, Everything Everywhere All at Once, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Fabelmans. I mean, other than John Williams being there for Fablemans, which kind of just felt like a
Oh, that's right.
if
He's gonna
I
win.
had to if I had to have a little cheat thing, I felt, oh, look at John Williams, that's nice. But
Yeah, he'll win.
I felt the other three were totally like, I don't care. Like I didn't think there's anything about their scores that were significant. But all I've heard is great things about Babylon. So I think it comes down to Babylon being who should win, and John Williams being the dark horse that may likely squeeze it out, depending on because it is voted by their peers, the technical people. So it's not voted as much of a popularity contest as some of the other categories are. So that actually was kind of like one to kind of like a fun one to watch kind of thing. So,
Yeah,
where are you at on some of the other like the kind of like the weird ones, like visual effects? Do you think that there's any chance does Avatar win and run away with it? I mean, it's All Quiet on the Western Front, Batman, Black Panther, and Top Gun. So it's to me it was Top Gun and Avatar, right? Like those are the two that seemed most likely. And by the way, for those of you that know that I don't have a ton of love for the Batman, I have said it's very technically sound. So for it to get technical awards, I think is a fair thing. It does not deserve to win any of those, but at least it got. I have no aversion to the fact that Batman did get nominated for some technical awards.
It'll probably go to Avatar or Top Gun.
I would think so too.
Yeah, it'll probably go to those two, and I hope to God Black Panther gets shut out. I mean, that's just ridiculous. What a waste of a nomination.
Of a nomination, yeah.
RRR should have been there. It's a visually beautiful film.
Yeah. Where are you at on your Indian cinema watch list? Because you're still taking in some stuff pretty regularly. And because of you, I saw Kantara. I have to give you total cred because I had not heard an actual good review, and you went and saw Kantara and sold me on that. I liked it a lot. Maybe not quite as much as you, but I liked it a lot. Still in that rabbit hole. I'm doing my review tomorrow. I'll probably do tonight or tomorrow. I'll do Saira. Is that how I say it right? I always pause when I say their names. That's a 2019 film. I liked it a lot. That was fun.
Yeah, no, I mean it's going slowly. It just takes so much time to watch stuff. And I always got to remind myself, okay, take care of the channel first. There's no other channel focusing on Latino entertainment and the spotlighting accomplishments, where it's good, where it's bad, like my channel. So I got to keep that up, and of course, call things out when I was very excited for Tenoch Huerta, and how I felt about the film and the product. So I had to call it out. Just because it's Latino doesn't give it a free pass. So that being said, it's just like, man, those Indian films are such a commitment. And right now there's a lot of shows that got Last of Us, got trying to finish The National Treasure.
Oh, Lord help you. You're the main reason I have not watched National Treasure, because I said, well, my wife will watch National Treasure, and I said, I have good authority that I am not going to enjoy National Treasure. Let's just table that for now, and we'll just get from there. And by the way, your Barmy throwing out a $2 super chat. Nice. Thank you so much. I don't know what kind of characters in there, or if it's just blank, but your Barmy, thank you so much. We appreciate it though. So, but yeah, no, I'm with you. The 3-hour subtitle commitments of Indian cinema films, it gets hard. I have peaks and valleys where I can watch a few, and then I kind of like massive gaps. And this is a little tricky too right now, because obviously we're in the middle of doing Oscar stuff. So I'm gonna be like, now I'm going to be filling time watching some of these films I hadn't seen, tracking them down, and those kinds of things. Is there I mean, I know we touched on a lot of them or whatever. Well, let me go around to the writing, because I have to agree with you too. I have not even got through it because I didn't care, because Knives Out aged so poorly for me from a screenplay standpoint. Like I didn't hate it when it first came out, and then as we've rewatched Knives Out, does not hold up well at all. Like compared to like the Murder on the Orient Express remake and some of those, I'm like, on rewatch, I'm like, I feel about the same as I did before, good or bad or otherwise. But with Knives Out, and then so Glass Onion comes out, I've caught wind of some issues with it. I have not heard anyone's full review, but it sounds like a writing screenplay adaptation makes no sense to me, like at all. I don't really understand why Top Gun is here either. Why is
It's
Top
very
Gun
strange as well. Yeah.
adapted screenplay? I thought,
Look at women talking is probably going to win. That's probably where they're going to give the award because they're not going to win Best Picture, and it did not nominate Sarah Polley for Best Director. So
yeah, I
them
can see that.
them being political, they'll probably give it to them.
Did you see Women Talking? I think you said you had not seen that one yet, right?
No, I haven't. I'm just going off
Yeah,
of
that's on my.
politics here.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, and then original screenplay, Fableman, Tar, Triangle, everything, and Banshees. I would like to
I have no
think
idea.
Everything Everywhere is going to win because it's such an original idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's so
no,
original, that movie.
I would say I would lean that direction because it has the momentum based on other awards. However, if I had to be objective, any of Banshees, even Tar, I have to acknowledge how good the screenplay is, though. Like, it's still a really, really good screenplay. But everything everywhere it's incredible how much is in there, especially when you get to the third act and it's starting to tie up everything. It's starting to put this piece here, this little piece there, and you're like, man, this is really good. Holy crap, this is really, really good. So not for everybody. Totally get it. So all right. Let's see. Chat. You guys gonna say any nomination for Top Gun is a win? Listen, I think Top Gun wins. I think it wins a couple of. I mean, it deserves to win some of the technical stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna try to make it seem like it does not. It's got its fair number of awards that are nominated. I think
yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be something
editing,
if it won Best Picture? I mean, that.
Obviously, it changes the game.
That would be amazing. Yeah,
because obviously it made a ton of money. The only thing that's taken it out of the spotlight of its financial successes because Avatar did make as much money as it has because of because it's really had a good run on like IMAX and these higher production type auditoriums. So it's like really, really doing well financially in that regard. But for Top Gun, and I will be honest, I don't know if you noticed this or not, Paullie. Did you look at it this way? I love watching the mainstream of how will they structure their headlines today. It kind of shows you some of their agendas, like what movies will they put in the headlines. Kind of shows you where they're at. Because to me, the headline should be pretty easy to write, where everything leads the way with 11, All Quiet, and Banshees have 9. You would think that these would be, but you'll see Top Gun in some headlines. You'll see, Tar. You'll see all these crazy things. You're like, whoa, that's weird. That's how you find agenda in some of these things. I don't know. I don't know if you look at things like that or not, but that's how
I do, but I don't give them any, of my emotional,
yeah, I got you. They don't get the space. I got you.
Yeah, it's just because they're wrong. They're pretty much always wrong. We're the ones that are right. So I'd rather see the headlines. What's going on with Chris Gore, with different channels that I've been following. Because some of these movies, man, that's just the way it is. It's like these are victories for us. Everything Everywhere, Top Gun, RRR.
I think Pinocchio, to a certain extent, at least having the conversation about these other categories. I know it didn't pull them, but I think the fact that there are a lot of people who are like, wait a minute, this is a really good movie. And I'm like, yeah, it really, really is something special. Zach says Everything Everywhere was awesome, but still be pulling for Top Gun. I think we're with you, bro. I think we're all with you. I'm not going to be sad by anything, if everything wins. But yeah, I would love to see Top Gun win 3 or 4. I'd love it. I think it'd be amazing.
I'd be happy with either one, as long as it's not, any of the films that are like depressing and
I will say some of the films are less depressing than previous years. No,
yeah, like I'm just saying, as long as it's not like Banshees winning, Uh, what's the other one?
Well, Banshees, I
The,
think, will definitely have a good chance of winning some of them. To
it's gonna
see,
win. I'm
and I
talking about
haven't
like for
heard about.
best film or
Yeah,
best
I'm looking at
director.
like Triangle of Sadness. I've heard
Triangle of
mixed.
Sadness.
Yeah, women talking. I do not want to see women talking win Best Picture. That'll be a huge negative.
It's gonna
I'm
be
okay with
bad.
Elvis winning Best Picture above those
Hmm.
things. Like I would rather see Elvis win Best Picture.
Elvis would be great.
Yeah,
Elvis would
and
be great.
and to
Film
me the
editing.
hardest one is the Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the Brendan Fraser performance for myself. But yeah,
And you never know too. All Quiet on the Western Front might sweep. I
it's such a
mean,
good
so
film.
many nominations. You know, you just never know. I mean, the fact that it got this, and I gotta go see it now.
Yeah, I was so moved by this sort of like a shell shock factor, sort of that
Hmm.
Saving Private Ryan / Hacksaw Ridge
Mm,
shock factor that it has. And I felt that way with Sardar Udom, which I think you saw as well. I still like, man, that's some powerful stuff. And I admit,
hmm.
not for everybody, maybe
No,
not rewatchable if you're not into war films, but man, oh man, some good stuff.
that's a
Some
tough
good stuff.
watch. That last
Yeah,
half is a very tough watch.
definitely,
But that was the
definitely.
point. That was the point. Director, you have the Banshee director. You have the
Mm-hmm.
Everything Everywhere. Spielberg, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben for Triangle of Sadness. I mean,
That last one's still the weird one for me, but I have to give the film a shot before I pass total
mhm.
judgment. I'm not surprised by any of the others. I'm
For
just
me,
blown
out of
away
this
by the
list,
SS Rajamouli thing. This to me, this is the one thing where I'm like, look, I've seen Tar, I've seen Fablemans, I've seen
mm-hmm,
Banshees. Sure, Everything Everywhere All at Once to me would be my pick right now.
mm-hmm.
But Rajamouli, what he accomplished with the different genres all blended together, the way he did with the action and the drama and the romance, and it's criminal. It's criminal that he's excluded in that category. It really, really is.
Yeah, I'm surprised just because this Ruben director just came out of nowhere with this film. From to me, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
Tar is like, yeah, Todd Field. I get it. Spielberg, I don't know. I get it. Um, I think I think out of this list, I just want the two Ds to win for Everything Everywhere at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd vote for the Daniels. I'd
You
vote for
know,
the Daniels. Zach is willing to see All Quiet in a theater. Whew, that'd be heavy in a theater, bro. That'd be Saving Right. I'd be interested to see if the Netflix films they'll put some of that stuff out in theaters or not. I don't know.
mm,
I don't think that's been on the plate, but it would be interesting to
mm,
see if All Quiet and Pinocchio in particular could get a little run in a theater.
mm.
Um,
I did
All
see.
Quiet.
I did see. Oh, I see it here. It's actually playing at the Bay Theater
Hmm,
here in Los Angeles.
it would be.
It's
I would
playing
love to.
in a
I would
movie
love to know
theater.
the effect of the sound. Yeah, yeah. The sound is really
That
intense.
would be
Really, really
worth
good.
going to. I
Yeah, if
did
you
see
can get it in a
Pinocchio.
theater.
I did see Pinocchio
Yeah, that would be
in the
good. That'd
theater.
be
That
good to
was
see
just
that.
so it's playing once a day at the Bay Theater in Pacific Palisades. That's not too far. That might
Hmm.
be worth a shot.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the review. I can't wait to see your thoughts because it. I will admit, as much as I loved it, I had it in my top 5 for sure. I was shocked that it had so many nominated. There's no way I would have predicted 9. I just couldn't believe it. It just kept going and going every category. It's like seemed like holy cow, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So before I let you go, Paulie, because we've been going for about an hour and a half. What is on Paulie's like all-time list? What's on like some of the OG stuff? Because I've been doing like this whole throwback Thursdays where I try to go back and find some movies, and I have to give credit to like the most bizarre of circumstances. I have a coworker who had never heard of, forget about seeing it, she had never heard of The Towering Inferno. And I looked at her and I said, oh, well, before Star Wars and Jaws made blockbusters, there was disaster movies, and Towering Inferno was the domestic. So that's how it all started. So I've been doing
Yeah.
and Magitech
Wasn't
Mags is
Paul
like,
Newman in that?
yeah, Paul Newman and Steve McQueen, and they fought over top billing after they fought so hard to be in a film together, and then when they got in, they fought over who was top billing. So what they did was a right to left, top to bottom, so that they're listed like opposite corners. so that way they're both top depending on how it's so
Mm.
the politicking with, but practical effects, man. They were actually in the room where some of these scenes are shot. It's really an incredible film. But what's some of the OG stuff on Paulie's list? Some of the stuff that's the when you're a cinemaphile, that's a tough. Again, I know it's tough because we didn't talk about a specific genre or anything like that. Just some of your best stuff.
Well, I would think, a lot of the 70s films. I think the first film I remember was Rocky.
Mm.
So, that, I remember very vividly Rocky, Star Wars, Superman, Grease. I had the vinyl, the double vinyl of Grease. And, I'm happy to say a lot of those films really, kind of stood the test of time. And then as I get older, as I've gotten older, we would, appreciate some of the, films before me. So yeah, look, I think I'm just, old school. Like, I mean, just like I'm with everyone else on a lot of these classical movies. I love Gone with the Wind. I absolutely love Gone with the Wind. I love Casablanca.
Yeah, you're gonna love my Watch Your Story this Sunday morning. It drops 9. It's 9 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays. I do a Watch Your Story. I'm doing Magitech Mags. We're basically doing cinema appreciation, and we went back to that era where within like a 5 or 6 year span, we got like Wizard of Oz, Casablanca, Gone with the Wind. We got all Citizen Kane. We got all of these incredible films that set the foundation.
Wuthering Heights
for history. Like, it's incredible. Like, it's just Grapes of Wrath. Like, there's like this incredible like 5 to 6 year window where basically all of this sort of began, and it's like, wow, how many people don't watch black and white films? How many people won't give these films a chance and whatever? So she's an old soul and a young, beautiful body, and I'm very happy to have had time to chat with her about it. So yeah, that was this coming Sunday's Watch Your Story about that little. Because I'm with you. I'm like, the more I go back, the more I find I just. So did a throwback Thursday coming on Rope, Hitchcock's Rope, and it's more like talk about a film nerd type film. Like,
really
it's not even one of the ones that Hitchcock most people talk about. But I'm like, well, imagine trying to sell a studio on shooting 10-minute takes and threaded together, and it's in one room. Basically, it's like it's wow. It's a lesson on how to make a low budget film, if nothing else. Like, there's some of these films that are just like, wow, this is crazy. Yeah.
And then I go back to those films that did really great adaptations of plays, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yeah.
The first West Side Story. That was something else.
Yeah.
I really liked Rear Window. I always loved Rear Window.
Oh no, I'm a Hitchcock nut. So Psycho, North by Northwest, Vertigo, Birds.
Oh, you know what?
I'm gonna do Birds. Birds turned 70 this year. Yeah, we do Birds.
I'm a big Gary Cooper High Noon fan. Kirk Douglas. No, was it Lloyd Bridges?
Don't know.
I think it was. Who was the dad? It was Jeff and Bo. Lloyd Bridges as the deputy, and Katie Jurado from Mexico. High Noon. That is fantastic. Now might seem like it always takes me a second. It always takes me a second. I was a big Monty Clift fan.
Montgomery Clift, man, that's some OG
Montgomery
stuff
Clift,
right there. That's good stuff.
Red River, A Place in the Sun. Place in the Sun was creepy, man, but it was like, good creepy. Yeah. I know there's another one I'm missing about Monty.
I just think there's something special about that stuff. And then, of course, being a child of the 80s, it's just like this special stuff that's just, it's just hard to get our head around that, the 80s got so good that, things like Blade Runner and The Thing were flops. It's like the marketing and timing of stuff just it's like it makes your head kind of like, what on earth? Yeah, they were complete box office flops. It was like this crazy thing to think about. So, but folks, listen. I know not everybody's into the Oscars and all that, but I thought I'd bring on, man. Paullie, we put the link there. Zach's taking care of us tonight. Make sure you're subbed to Paullie. Paullie he's rocking and rolling about all sorts of great content, stuff like that. I'm so blessed to have him on with me talking about Oscar stuff. And it's just a fun time to kind of look at some films maybe in a different way, talk about some of the things that we have been able to be a part of and we've been able to talk about. Obviously, we mentioned those like Maverick and RR, and everything everywhere all at once, and even All Quiet on the Western Front. I've been promoting that film. Like when people get into it, like, oh wow, this is really good. I'm like, Pinocchio, yeah, oh, this is really good. I'm like, yeah. And the menu, oh my gosh, I'm still reeling from the fact that the menu got totally snubbed. Like I'm for it to get
I saw it twice.
Completely ignored. Yeah. I told my wife, it says it's a rewatch. How many times can I talk about an Oscar film that can be rewatchable? That's become the rarity. Yeah. So
I saw it twice. I also saw Plane twice.
Plane is fun. 90s stuff. I have to be honest.
I loved it. I took Romy. I loved it so much.
Like, I was happy from Mike Coulter, and I tell you, I had a little laugh whenever he has that sledgehammer scene. I'm like, oh crap! I'm looking at steel.
Boy,
I'm looking at steel. He looks like he's ready to throw down like some Superman scene.
He's jacked in that film. He needs to be a superhero. Again.
I know. So,
but we can't think.
We can't thank Paullie enough for some of his time, folks. Listen. Love you guys. You guys make all this possible. We love you so much. Thanks for all that. And again, be happy. Make tomorrow better than today. Be blessed. Talk hard. Listen, little Bob Ross is saying you out, a little smile on your face. You guys have a good night. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
All I do is chill. My life is a thrill. For real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama. You don't want to cause a problem. I'll solve it, Bob Ross.